Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today, we're going to be doing the Animal Crossing book tag. Originally, I heard this book tag on the Books Unbound podcast, so check them out. They're on a break right now until September, which is like next week. But I love their podcast. They do such fun things, and this was like one of their really old episodes from a couple of years ago they did this. I took some questions from them, but those questions come from Becca with a Book here on YouTube. So I will link that video in the description box as well. So that's kind of where the questions are coming from. These questions are based on characters in Animal Crossing. I think Animal Crossing is super fun, and like obviously people have been playing it for a long time. I don't know how many people are still playing like New Horizons. I know in 2020 it was like everybody was playing it, and I think it's having like a little bit of a resurgence, but I don't know. Animal Crossing is just so fun, so wholesome, so comforting. So I thought it would be fun to just kind of participate in this book tag and let you know what I think, and let me know what your answers to the questions are. So the first question is Tom Nook. Name an author who takes all of your money. I thought this was a really funny way to phrase it. And what's actually hilarious is when I first heard this tag on the Books Unbound podcast, I had never played Animal Crossing. And so I was like, Tom Nook, he must be like the bad guy because he's taking your money. But no, if you haven't played Animal Crossing, Tom Nook is more like the bank or the landlord that you are constantly paying money to in order to upgrade your house and do various things. Anyway, an author who takes all my money. I thought of 3 off the top of my head. The first one, Emily St. John Mandel. She hasn't come out with a new book in quite a while, but all of the books that I've read of hers, I've absolutely loved. So I am curious to continue on in that journey whenever she comes out with a new book. The next one is Fredrik Backman. Again, I haven't read his entire backlist, but every book of his that I've read, I have really, really loved, and I am excited to get to his new book, My Friends, soon. It's on hold at the library, so we'll see whenever that hold comes off. I will read it. And then the last one that I think could become an auto-buy-author for me is Richard Osman. He wrote the Thursday Murder Club series. I absolutely loved that series, and I'm currently on hold at the library for his book, which is called We Solve Murders, I think. Let me double check that. Yes, We Solve Murders. When did this come out? Does it tell me? Okay, so this book came out last year. So I'm fully expecting it to be just as wonderful as the Thursday Murder Club, so hopefully it lives up to my expectations. Definitely I could see him also becoming an author that takes all my money, because I loved the Thursday Murder Club series. Okay, the next one is Blathers, a book that will keep you up all night. And for this, I picked a book that I didn't want to put down because I wanted to know what was going to happen, and that is The Last House on Needless Street by Katrina Ward. This is technically a horror, but if you're somebody who doesn't read horror, it's not too scary, because I am a huge scaredy cat. Like, I really am. So I was really afraid going into this book that it was going to be too scary for me, but it is not. And it is so interesting. It's written in a really interesting way, and as the reveals start happening and the plot moves forward and forward and forward, it's like just every single end of every chapter I was like, I need to know what's going to happen. Like, what is going on? And then when it finally wraps up and you learn everything, it's just so interesting and makes you think, and just incredibly well written, and I think also with a great message. I would really recommend reading the author's note at the end. Now that I've told you how much I love it, I will tell you what it's about. Basically, you are following a man who is living in his home that's all boarded up, a cat who likes to read the Bible, and the sister of a girl who went missing. And it is full of twists and turns. It is dark. It does have very dark themes. Like, I will say that. It does have very dark themes, and some scary things do happen. So, like, I wasn't terrified. I don't think it's really intense horror, but it is scary. So, just keep that in mind. Okay, the next one is Able Sisters. Name a book with good design. Now, you could take this question as good design as in, like, your favorite cover, but I'm going to be taking this question as good design as in an interesting writing design. And for that, my choice is A Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez. This book I chose for good design because it is one of the most well written and interestingly written book that I've ever read. It uses the second person really frequently, which is something that I don't see a lot. Basically, you're following a story of two warriors who have to take a god across the country to try and end the tyrannical rule of the current emperor, who has godlike powers. And so that's the story that you're following. But what's so interesting is that it starts off with the second person and saying that you are being told stories by your grandmother, I believe, and she tells you about this theater, this dream theater, that if you get lucky, when you go to sleep, you'll be transported to this dream theater where you will see a story take place. And so then you fall asleep and you go to the dream theater and then you see this story unfold of these warriors taking this god. And I think that's so interesting and fun. And then also, like, throughout the story where you're learning about the warriors and all of that stuff, there will be random lines that are like italicized or something where it's like a totally different perspective. Like, perspective just gets thrown around and it can be a little bit confusing, but I think it's just done in a really beautiful way and it flows so smoothly. So I think that that book has fantastic design in the sense that it's written in a very, very interesting way. Okay, the next one is Isabel. Name a book that lifted your spirits and made you happy. Isabel is the best. She lifts all of our spirits. And for this book, I picked Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. This is a classic. It is one of my favorite books of all time. I would say it's probably top 5, to be honest, because Anne reminds me of myself. I relate a lot to her, especially as a child. I had a lot of her very similar personality traits. So Anne of Green Gables, if you don't know, follows the story of a girl named Anne who is an orphan, and she gets adopted by a brother and sister, and they take her in. It's kind of accidental. They meant to adopt a boy to help them on their farm, and Anne showed up instead. And they were going to send her back, and she convinced them to let her stay, and they fall in love with her, and they become this beautiful family unit. And what I love so much about this book is that Anne is filled with so much curiosity and imagination, and she's not afraid to show it, no matter how much it annoys everybody around her, which is why she reminds me of myself. I was often told growing up that I was very annoying and talked too much, and so I think that's why I relate to Anne so much, is because a lot of people treat her that way, and she has to go through this journey. The first book, there's a whole series. I actually haven't read any of the other books, but the first book is kind of her, starting school for the first time and meeting new friends and learning, how to act in society. And I just think that it's so fun. It's so heartwarming, and I absolutely love it. It just holds such a dear place in my heart, and it always will. Okay, and then our last question is KK Slider. Name a side character who became one of your favorites. And for this, I had to think long and hard. I don't know why it took me so long to come up with something, but what came to my mind very first was, of course, Samwise the Brave from Lord of the Rings. I love Sam. I think that he is arguably the hero of the story. Listen, I love Frodo. I do. I love Frodo. He's so brave. He tries so hard. He does so much. But Sam, I think, is the real hero of Lord of the Rings, even though he is technically a side character, because the loyalty that he shows, he sticks with Frodo, and he's willing to do what needs to be done, right? No matter how hard it is, no matter how much he wants to be back home in his garden, he's gonna do it. He's gonna be there. He doesn't know how to swim, and, and I'm coming with you, right? So I love Sam. Samwise. Honestly, I think that if I had another son, I would be tempted. I would be tempted to name him Samwise, because he's just such a wonderful character. So yes, that is the Animal Crossing tag. Let me know what your answers would be in the comments, and if you've read any of the books that I mentioned, or if you love Sam as much as I do, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!